Okay.
1 second. Hey, Dan. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Julio. Hey, Julio.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Dan. Now wait for the delay. Both? Can you hear both of us? Cool. All right. Yeah. Hey,
Jeremy
everybody.
Ensley says, listening at work, please keep it clean.
I don't know if we're going to do that.
No promises.
No promises, no surprises. Hey, everybody.
Hey, 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 hey.
We're live. We got the video on. How's it going,
Hello,
Dan?
Internet.
Bring us in.
Hello, Internet. This is Bandscamps, Episode 3, Recap, Part 1. I'm Dan Fisher.
I'm Julio Gomez. We're live on the internet.
We're doing this
We're
again.
we're on the southeast side.
We out here scamping.
We're scamping. We're in here scamping.
We're in here scamping.
We're from my house to yours.
Yeah, but we in here, out here. I personally have an innie. I don't know if do you have? I think you have an innie.
Here's a funny story. My button belt. I think we're good. Yeah. My mouse cursor. Oh, you can see it by cursor. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Thank you, Cassie. Everyone, get up for Cassie on production. My belly button shape changed.
Really? When?
Yeah, I had an appendectomy, and they go in your belly button. And I used to be able to fit my whole finger in my belly button. I can't do that anymore.
Dang, dude, you're different, man. I knew there was something different about you, but now
I got tighter. Speaking of tight, you're on Bandscamps, where everyone's got an asshole, but some are just a little bit nicer.
Some are just on our face.
Some are just a little bit more fun to be around.
That's right.
And we have a really special one today.
Yeah, we do have a special one. So in episode 3, we reviewed an album called Motel by Paul and Types. And it's one album, but with two different bands / musicians. And so we thought appropriate to do a split of the recap.
It's all conceptual, basically. And that brings us to a point. So let's jump right in. For listeners, we reviewed this record. I got the art real big. I'm gonna bring it up more so you guys can see it here. Cool art, and it's a split. It's a split full length.
It's a split full length, which I don't think I've ever listened to that in my life.
Even when there's like a lot of songs. I mean, and this is a true to split full length. And we had a pretty, I think, overwhelmingly positive review of this record.
I agree.
There were some things that we didn't like, and some things that we wish it was different, and some things that kind of hung us up. It's so many questions.
As one does with any piece of music or album. I don't think there's ever been an album where well, I've said there's a perfect album many times, but I talk in hyperbole a lot. So there's always going to be something. But yeah, Motel, I think we overwhelmingly had like a pretty positive review of it.
Yeah, I listened to a little bit today, and I do like it. And one thing I did say on the last show was that I think I would enjoy this the more I listened to it. You know,
Totally.
and I think that was true.
Yes.
What did we get wrong on our review?
Yeah, so that's like let's talk about like what we kind of the topics we're going to talk about that we're trying to like do with these recaps. We're asking ourselves, what did we get wrong? You know, did we get there? Is there anything that we wished we would have talked about more or less?
I think one thing I wish I would have talked about more is that this is a record made by brothers, and I really find that so fascinating. Just the concept of brothers trying to make music together, because it's volatile, and we touch on that. I did tell a story about two brothers that called the cops on each other at a band rehearsal. And what were you telling me earlier, that someone was asking about who it was?
Yeah, Rick Johnson was asking about that.
And it was the wrong set of brothers.
The wrong set of brothers, which is amazing. That.
So these are brothers making music, and we definitely didn't go off on that enough, and I kind of regret that. And
yeah.
I think we can make up for that. And one of the beauties of the internet and this live format is we actually have one of the creators of this record here with us, waiting backstage.
That's right.
I don't know
We
if we're
have
ready. I don't know if we're ready for that for them yet. But let's tease that right now. Might as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah, we're poking the bear now.
Okay. The bear's
Yeah,
awoken. We have type. Yeah, we have
brothers.
type. We have types in the studio.
That's
In
right.
in in the virtual studio.
Types, spelled ttypes. For those who are maybe just listening, and I don't know if that's possible to maybe get the. Well, I guess you'll add
You
that
know
when
what? A
he comes
caption
on.
captions are actually auto generated for the hearing impaired or for
Hmm.
anybody who just likes to read. It does.
Hmm.
I noticed that it does all the captions auto.
Yeah, I'm seeing that right now. I'm looking at the feed actually. That's
It's
cool.
not entirely good and like it doesn't pick me up all that well, but there we go. Got some titles here. What else?
Um,
This was a concept album.
it's a concept album, so yeah, let's. I Here are the questions that like.
Yeah, lay
Here's
them
the
out.
things
Lay
that
them
I'm
out.
excited to talk about with types. I'm excited to talk about the concept of a concept album.
Write them
I'm
down.
excited to talk about what it's like making a record, especially a concept record with your brother. Um, I'm excited to hear about just more about types because this is the first record that we reviewed that we don't really we didn't know the band.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yep.
So I'm excited to just have a nice conversation with someone we don't know that well.
I had to think about it because we're doing that. What day is it? Whereas like, was it last week? Was it 3 weeks
Oh my
ago?
gosh. Yeah, we just recorded episode 7 last night or last afternoon, yesterday afternoon. And we were talking about the just time in general and how it makes us feel inside.
Yeah, makes me feel great. So
Yeah.
I got notes here. I got stuff. I think I'm ready.
I think I'm ready
You want to bring
too.
types out? Hello, listeners. This is Julio Gomez and Dan Fisher, and we are doing episode 3 live recap. This is my radio voice, and we are going to bring on types right now.
Mr. Types.
Hey, types, go ahead and join with video. I'm gonna get us all situated and bring you on, and then join with your audio, if you could. There we go.
Hello? Hello
Hello.
there.
I
Hello,
can hear you.
Types.
Give me just
Found my
one.
way from the
give me-
back.
awesome. Yeah. Sorry about the mess.
That's okay.
it's the internet. What can you do?
Yeah.
All right. I'm
Oh,
getting
I
us
love this.
lined
I
up
love
really
watching you
nice.
like do it live.
Do it live. I'm
yeah.
using any listeners or viewers at home. I'm using XSplit for a long time. I didn't know how broadcasters worked, and I saw people broadcasting, and it was all very how do you do that about everything. I use a program called XSplit. There's a bunch of different ones. There's ones online. There's that are browser based. There's other programs, and this is great. So I got Tim from Types. How are you? I'm gonna cover up your name. Whoop.
Doing good.
I'm gonna put Types up there.
Mm.
Cool.
Tim Types.
All right. Welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. We offer this invitation to everybody who we review.
Thanks for having me.
Dan, why don't you take it while I'm going to get
Sure.
some type up here for types.
So while Julio is kind of getting us set up on the visual aspect, Tim, why don't you just tell us about types? Like how do you talk to us about types? What is types?
It was a big
Types is just my artist moniker. I was in a band years ago in the area. I've been living in GR for a long time. The ill-fated Quick Colors. We were all drug addicts and
When was
only
this-
ever played one.
When was this band? Just for yeah, we love details. So when was this?
We broke up in 2010.
Okay.
I left the band, and I think we formed like 2005.
Okay.
We were sort of like one of those bands that just we wrote all this music and recorded all this music, and it was never good enough, and it was never done, and we were always practicing to play live, but like never quite good enough, and just high and drunk all the time. So college kind of, but
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
but that's kind of part of why I have a solo moniker. Because I just don't like, maybe I'll like, this album is kind of, I'm in a band, but I'd rather just stick with my solo moniker because I don't want to be like permanently tied to a band.
Totally. How long have you been going under the moniker Types?
Since 2010.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So okay, so a lot of times when we listen to records, and they don't include like very specific credits in like the quote liner notes, it's all very speculative when we're listening to the record and figuring out what is being played by who. So I guess maybe tell us what you play.
Oh, okay.
Are
I
you talking
played the
about
piano.
instruments?
Yeah.
I played the piano and the guitar on this album. Just piano on my songs. A little bit of guitar on Small Town. Some of that toy piano that you guys caught up on. I did a little bit of that. But yeah, on my own stuff, I do play guitar.
Okay. Is it piano or guitar, or is that are any of those like your primary instrument?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah, I think that's good to know, and we don't, because we don't know. I think we had like almost no context going into your record, and like I don't know how relevant that is to the process of what you made, but like I think that we need to dive deep into it anyway, because we just gotta. And I think from at a basic level, it's good. It's good to talk about.
We
that.
like to know about that kind of stuff because we're musicians ourselves, so we like to like nerd out about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what the perspective of this show is like. Anyone can talk about music, but we happen to also be in bands ourselves, and so like we want to nerd out on that primarily too.
Yeah.
There was we have a bunch of questions. I want to just open it up. Do you have anything? How about instead of a question, do you have anything you want to say off the bat? Or do you prefer questions? How about I give you the option of what kind of game do you want to play? Do you want to play questions, or do you want to just do comments?
How about just throw all your hottest questions, most burning curiosities at me, and then if there's any gaps or additional things I have, I'll fill them in.
That sounds good. Let's start here. One thing we didn't bring up that is going to come up probably all the time with this is just the nature of the record, the split. I
don't think we've ever encountered, like we just said before you came on, like a full length like bona fide split.
Dan, can you come up a little bit on your vocal? We haven't encountered a split. So I think what we want to know is like is like I'm trying to even think how do you talk about a split in relation to like another record, like a different record? Like, is it like, oh, I can like this part and not like this part? Or is it like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to even phrase this question, because it just makes questions, and we're finding these questions more and more hard to even define how to phrase.
And like and this will lead into like another topic we'll get to a little bit later about working with your brother, but it seems very like that's where it gets really interesting. Is like you're working with your brother and you're doing a split.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a loaded question, and we did talk about that too. About working with your brother. So yeah, what was it like making a split with your brother? I guess, how was that?
I mean, overall, it was all things. It was a lot of fun. He was living in Arizona for most of it. And he moved to Grand Rapids, I want to say 4 years ago. Because the whole 10-year thing is true. We can get into that more later, but not that we were literally in the studio for 10 years, but yeah, so it was an occasion to see each other more, living across the country, sending concepts back and forth, helping, touch up lyrics, trying to, see who we could get to play on it. It's like whenever you're building a project together with somebody, there's all that excitement. You got someone to share it with. And it's also your brother.
For my listeners,
Yeah, go ahead.
For my listeners, we talked about. He mentioned the 10-year thing. There was a concept that we had talked about on the show where we questioned whether or not you had actually made this over the course of 10 years, because it says that in the liner notes. So that's what listeners, if you're wondering what that was about, that's the 10-year question.
I can understand how that could come across as like pompous or pretentious. We're not like, ooh, 10 years. It was just like, it was a labor of love. It took a long time. Jupiter, who's a real person, he's like an elder Gen Xer. My brother and I are both in our
another question there answered. We wondered about who Jupiter, the producers listed as, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to fill the listener in, the casual listener who's just looking for entertainment here. Jupiter Jones, we wondered who's this producer. You said real person.
He's a real person.
Not real name.
Not
Jupiter?
you. Not you.
That's not his real name.
Okay.
Not a real name.
It's funny that you guys named that Wachowski sisters movie, because he he grew up reading, I think, a book of detective novels by Orson Welles, of which the central character was like it was sort of like Encyclopedia Brown, but it was Jupiter Jones, child detective. And so that's just this name he's always liked.
Okay.
But he was involved in the local music scene in Grand Rapids back in the 80s, played in a number of bands.
We're gonna find out who this is.
I gotta know more about.
Yeah, we're
Jupiter
just
Jones.
gonna find out who this is.
I want him to produce our next record now.
Yeah, no, he's
no shit.
I think
sounds amazing.
Yeah. I think the reason why beyond Mystique, because he enjoys that he wants to like have a fake name out there is because he's a very busy man. Like he doesn't have kids, but like he's got a full-time life, works full-time, and his studio's in his house. And so if he's making a record, then like his wife has to deal with it. And, you know, like, so he doesn't want to just have people coming in and out all the time and bands coming in and out all the time.
This is just more questions, you know?
Yeah, like
why can't we
the mythology of Jupiter Jones.
Answers.
He asked me not to give his real name.
Fair.
If you want to dig into it.
I love it.
I love that too.
Both of Conrad Schock's albums were recorded and produced by him as well.
Wonderful.
Oh, sick. Okay, that's...
Yeah.
Man,
and that's on
more
Bandcamp.
Questions. This is great.
Yeah. In the chat, hey chat, what do you think about pseudonyms in music, secret identities in art? How do they make you feel?
Here's the thing about the Bandscamps too is like we have a podcast where we put out a lot of opinions, but you should know that like Hulu and I are at the surface are like just idiots, and so when someone says credits Jupiter Jones, we're like, that's that person's real name.
Well, no, I think I said like that's either a pseudonym.
Yeah,
I was questioning why hide it. I think that's not that stupid. It's just why.
You guys are curious.
We are moving from what to why is all we're doing.
That's all the podcast is.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about all his business. I can just say, knowing him, if he had dozens of people banging down his door, calling him or emailing him directly, he would be annoyed.
Okay, well, pass it on. That we love the work. We thought it was very very well done. And, and on to you, to you too. I mean that's not just they can't.
It's a really like well done, well produced record.
Really is.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I was during the last 9 months of production, because there were lots of remixes, re-recorded things, or additionally recorded things. I literally went to the doctor twice from chest pain induced by stress trying to finish the album. So it was definitely like a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that.
So let's get back to doing a split with your brother.
Yeah. You're
working with your brother. You want to have an excuse just to, like, to interact with him because he's living across the country. Why split it, though?
Well, across the country, we did not have the time or place to really sit in a room together and bang out truly co-written songs. And I think
I'm not sure that's what Dan's asking. Like, I mean, because some bands are able to do it like remotely. Like, I think he's saying, why did you make it be like your name plus his name and not maybe just some combined thing? Is that what you're asking, maybe?
Yeah.
I guess we were wondering if it was like just like an ego thing, or if it was like you're really just or you just, I don't know, you're telling different stories and you wanted that to be like very clear. I
mean, honestly,
was it your ego, bro? that is like every question is that. I'm so sorry, but
that's a fair question.
It's come up every live stream.
It really does come up a lot, and I mean that's a big part of just like being a musician and entertainment.
No, we all have a big. I have this thing with metadata, especially in the age of being able to buy a Focusrite or whatever and have a pretty good studio, not too much money. I think that the metadata itself can serve as a link web to everything that you do and everyone you collaborate with. And my brother and I don't have a plan to put out a bunch of different albums together. We, like as a real band, we may collaborate in the future. So a big part of it was me just wanting the album to organically lead everyone back to our solo stuff, which already existed, and
that's
more
a good strategy.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
the main reason.
That's a lovely answer for that question.
Cool. Yeah,
I think
a lovely answer for a poorly asked question.
So then, Dan, like that set aside metadata circumstances. Do you think from an artistic standpoint you would have liked to see it be one unified thing? Is that what you're saying, Dan?
I'm not. No, it was more just a curiosity thing, like, um, because really, I think like to me, my personal experience while listening to this, it was the difference between Paul and Types was not like crazy different. Like it's you guys clearly have like a sound, and it seems like it would. I think just sonically, it would make like I would have to check each song to see like who it was by, and so that brought up more curiosity about the split.
I had the,
Like,
I had
these
the
guys kind of
opposite.
sound like similar.
I had the
in my
opposite where I
opinion.
could tell each time, and I like the type stuff better than the Paul stuff. Like I remember like being like, I bet this is type, this is Paul. On second listen, it sounds a lot more homogenized to me.
Yeah.
Or not even second listen. This is gonna be like listen number 5 that I did this morning. On second like day of listening, I guess.
There were great efforts on behalf of Jupiter to make it sound as cohesive as possible, and then the players like Dan Julian, who drummed in a lot of the songs. He's in the Glorious Oranges. Chris Kennedy, who's in No Volcano, was in Trunk Federation back in the day. He lives in Arizona. He played on a number of them. So like we have, Conrad played bass on most of them. So we did have similar musicians across all of them. And then like pretty much 95% of the backing vocals on like all the tracks, even Paul's, are me. Like I wrote and arranged all the backing arrangements. So that's another thing. If you listen to his solo stuff, I won't necessarily be all in the background. And he doesn't do like the thick layered backing vocals. You'll find that on my solo stuff and probably not on his as much.
That answers a lot.
Let's go to the chat real quick. We already said Jeremy says listening at work. Please keep it clean. Thanks. I'm sorry about that. I think we might have not. Yeah. We may have not fucking done that for you.
Yeah, sex.
Jeremy Poo Poo. Poo Poo. Hey, Jeremy's boss. We call him Jeremy Poo Poo. Dan says hey to Dan, but not to me. Thanks, Jeremy. Josh Heller says types heart eyes, and then says unmask Jupiter Jones.
That's a big ask.
Can't,
Josh.
I don't have permission.
Jeremy Ainsley says he's against secret pseudonyms for artists.
Coming
Jeremy
from
Ainsley.
Wicker Basket.
I can't even pronounce his name. I can't. It's Ainsley, right?
Yeah.
Why do I think it's Ainsley? Do I know someone named with Ainsley or
maybe you're thinking of the
Ainsley?
band Isley.
Man, Jeremy, I'm so sorry. I probably said your name wrong so many times.
Christopher says Tim Rocks.
Tim Rocks. Chris Nichols says Tim Rocks.
Thanks,
All right,
Chris.
yeah. So here we go. Let me get into something else here. Was this a thing that was like a top to bottom designed concept album, or did it kind of like become a concept album over time?
It's sort of no and yes, because I remember Paul coming to me. The concept album was his idea. We did really grow up in a motel that my parents still own and operate. I did not have my life together to the extent that I could fully commit to the idea and write really on topic concept songs. I started a few and they just never got finished. I have like demos of really on topic concept songs that just didn't make it. So he has all of the most like we lived in a motel kind of songs, or Newspaper Mountains, which was about this crazy ass lawyer that lived at the motel for 10 years and was a Vietnam veteran who had like PTSD and would flip out. It was interesting.
Do you have a Patreon or anything?
Yeah.
Josh Heller wants me to put it up, and he got sassy about it. What is it? Is it?
Yeah, real sassy about
Okay,
it.
here it is. Yeah,
Patreon.com/types with 4 T's. It should be. It might be 2. God damn it. I should know
that. Josh put it up on the chat for us already.
Okay.
He's on it, apparently.
Well,
Thank you.
I can't use my computer
Yeah, it's 4 T's.
for internet and live stream and Zoom.
Man.
Josh Heller also gets self-conscious when I get cranky.
Yeah.
I'm cranky. I'm telling him.
Don't make him feel bad. He's a sweetie.
I know he's sweet. I can't not make people feel bad though. It's hard. There you go.
Fair enough.
He's a scamp.
That's my burden. Okay.
That's your cross to bear.
Yeah.
I'm pulling your Patreon up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna mute my mic while I get some tech stuff going here.
Okay, so yeah, keep going about building the concept with Paul.
Right. So he had all these, clear concept songs, and then I have, just a group of tons of half finished songs, half finished demos, like a couple hundred. I sent him, 30 or 40 of the ones that I like the best, and then he picked from those which ones he felt fit the concept best, at least in tone, because a lot of them didn't even have finished lyrics. And so then I just tried to kind of push them in the direction of the concept. Like The Shore, it's not super specific, except the town that we grew up near is total like trailer track, like just tons of like really beat down trailer park neighborhoods, which we actually lived in for a few years. So that song is sort of like imagining like a drug addled trailer park romance in a trailer park nearby the motel. And like Skymen, that is half a Geoff Godfrey song, that's in the liner notes. So the verse of that is like a half cover from like a 60s mod rock Irish song. But we did like see fucking UFOs in the backyard of the motel one night. It was really weird.
Yes.
The night Princess Diana died, it was a weird night, let me tell you.
Hold on, I gotta light up my mic.
Yeah.
So no,
I want to hear. Yeah, like
UFOs. Let's talk UFOs for a second.
Let's go.
So you've seen UFOs. Let's hear about it. Let's hear it.
Okay, so I was being a moody 13-year-old, lying in my bed, sad. And then my brother runs in. He's like, "Oh, Dad, Tim, there's UFOs in the backyard. UFOs." I didn't want to deal with it. He dragged me out there, and motel sits on about 2 acres. We have a big backyard, and then at the edge of the backyard, there's a barrier to a swamp that's like a few acres back. And over the swamp, what looked like 100 to 200 feet in the air, were 3 objects in a triangle, rotating in a triangle in the air, about the height that you would expect helicopters to be, but there was zero noise. But they looked like
is that what's on the cover here?
Yeah, that's referenced.
I love it.
And
holy shit.
They kind of looked like they maybe had searchlights, but it wasn't like they weren't probing the ground. It was just bright bluish lights moving, staying in a triangle formation, looking about the distance you'd normally see a helicopter.
I did not realize these were UFO lights. I thought it was like street lights.
Sick. And I was very upset by it. I didn't know what to think, so I went back inside, and he and my dad stared at it for a while longer.
Dan, have you seen UFOs ever, Dan?
No.
I have. My partner Cassie and I, we saw one time we were hanging out by Heritage Hill in someone's backyard, overlooking, and they were like, "There they are again!" And we turned, we saw them, and they looked exactly like that. And the people we were with were like, "Oh, there they are again! Look!" And like they were, and they all sick. Did a thing, and they came together and came apart, and then just like took off fast as shit, and we're gone.
Wow.
And was it zero noise too?
Yeah,
that's the weirdest thing.
It was like right over Grand Rapids. It was on like Lafayette, right over in the backyard there, looking over downtown.
Crazy.
Wow.
I'm skeptical too. Hey, can you tilt your camera down just a tad? Are you able to do that? Maybe. Perfect. Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I got your Patreon up.
Thanks.
How do you feel about Patreon?
I mean,
we might love explore that avenue.
Yeah, I love it on the one hand, but you really have to keep up you have to have something that you're releasing steadily.
Yeah, because it's a monthly subscription, right?
Yeah. Well, you can do it per release.
But then we already do that.
Yeah. We're thinking about starting an OnlyFans.
Hey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an avenue to go down too.
Yeah. They're essentially the same thing, right?
Spiritually, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
But there's actually 2 alternate mixes, one of Jealousy and one of Room 5 that I put up on the Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
That are the Jealousy mix is a mix I did. It's a little rougher around the edges, a little woolly, not as pristine as the one on the album, but it was closer to what I wanted for the song. And the Room 5 mix feels more like a rock song than the sort of like jazz prog odyssey it ended up being. So if anybody's curious,
I got your Patreon deets right here. I can plop them right here.
That brings me to a question then. Do you feel like Motel reflects types in a way that you're happy with? Because it sounds, if you have alternate mixes and like you have, obviously you and brother have like different styles or opinions or preferences. Like, do you feel like your types is represented the way you want it?
I mean, I would have all three of us were producers, and so
Mm-hmm.
I did not get the styles or mixes I wanted on every song, just due to limitations.
Mm-hmm.
So, in one sense, no. Like if I had done them by myself, they'd be a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But in another sense, like uh, the background vocals, the sort of maximalism that I'm trying to reel back in more recent years, but that I tend to do. I think Mark's
We touched on that too.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it was really mixed in. You get what I'm trying to do as far as the songwriting, composing the
I think
vocals.
so.
So it's
Yeah.
I didn't get to personally write the guitar and the additional instruments or have the final say on all of them on every song,
Mm-hmm.
which was a point of contention.
Is that yeah? So that's awesome. I like that. We're actually
That's
gonna
good to know.
listeners. We're gonna be talking to Paul on our recap on Sunday. So this is gonna be a
Yeah.
first of ours too. We're gonna do a double, and I might pull some clips from this thing here. Compromise, I think, is a subject that comes up a lot when we talk about recording music.
Mm-hmm. It's difficult at times.
It really is a practice of compromise. Has anyone ever made a record that when they were like, there it is, and like didn't have a problem with it, and it didn't like haunt them forever?
When it's my solo stuff, if I'm like, all right, there's mistakes, but they were my mistakes, like then I don't feel bad.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like we have that kind of like similar vibe with our records, Julio. Sometimes, we're just like, oh, that's like, there's like certain stuff that's like, happy mistakes or something, or just like, like I can own that.
I try to avoid that, and I'm gonna go in. This is gonna go into a sub episode. Bandscamps. My dad has been doing music lately, and he asked me a good question today. I think we can probably. I'm not gonna embarrass him, but he's a beginner, but he's been playing guitar and singing like Paraguayan folk music his whole life. Like he's got a beautiful voice. But he had like a line where he says la instead of L, and he's like, should I fix that? Should I call the producer? And I was like, well, how comfortable are you living with the fact that you misspoke? And he was like, well, my uncle already called me on it and said, technically that's the wrong word.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, if you're describing the river, you're going to use this and not the adjective. We're not describing the adjective, so you don't use that pronoun. And so that's an interesting thing that right away he's already facing that dilemma.
Wow.
Of the
That's
compromise.
Kind of cool.
So he had a choice. Do I compromise and not call the producer, or do I? And he was like, no, one time I messed up, and he like took a different part, and so like my dad was able to see like, oh, you take a different part of a song and a different take and just cut and paste the right part of the take in there,
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty amazing that even as a beginner he's aware of compromise. Have you ever been 100% proud of a record, like either of you, Dan or Types?
No.
I've gotten into the high 90s.
That's good.
That's pretty good. Well, I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna grab a drink. You guys just keep talking. I'm gonna grab a beverage.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, like man, that's so okay, so here's just like a really maybe I don't know if surface level, but like do you and like your brother get along? Like are you guys like close?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was because, I think in the in the podcast we mentioned a story about brothers who called the cops on each other. So it's like I think the common like in just pop culture in general is like brothers in bands is like, oh, you're setting yourself up for like potential drama.
The Everly brothers famously hated each other.
Yeah,
and like some of the best harmonies in the business.
I can't believe I didn't even bring up like the Bee Gees either, like in the podcast. But like I watched that Bee Gees documentary and I absolutely loved it, and now I have such a larger appreciation for them as a band. But they have a lot of like really interesting like brotherly drama, but they pulled through.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say there's no drama or there hasn't been. And I think that when you're close, if somebody upsets you, then it makes you more mad because you're like, yeah, this person is close to me. Why are you upsetting me?
Yeah.
Or if there's a lot on the line, you're working really hard on something for years, then, conversations about that thing, like say this album, could carry more weight. But yeah, no, we love each other. There's a song on the album about it.
Awesome. I love it.
Which song? You're My Brother? That one?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful song. That was on my re-listen today. I was taking notes, and that is when I wrote this subject matter is hard to speak about, like familial stuff. It's really hard to speak about, and I don't mean like that like it's painful or something. It's just like hard to do like well and like not be self-conscious or whatever. I don't know why. I don't even have a brother. That's a thing that I think a lot of people, even in bands, envy, is like having a brother. And I wrote like this is hard to speak about, and we didn't go on enough about it, but this sort of content is like automatically interesting, in my opinion.
Oh, good. Because it's, there's that danger of being cheesy, but it's 100% heartfelt. So
that's what when I say like it's hard to speak about, that's what I mean. I mean hard like as an artist who is trying to be taken seriously, at least to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Which I assume you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've made some bad assumptions about artists in the last couple of weeks, so I don't know. I don't want to do that anymore. So that's why I'm being specific.
So, all right, let's open it up to Tim here about what do you want to say to us about our review?
Yeah, straight up.
Okay.
Things we got.
And I'm gonna just mute my mic, but I'm gonna write down things I want you to bring back up. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say I can understand how you might want to just sort of find out whether or not it's a concept. Like maybe that's more interesting than being told. That we didn't think about that at the time. But clearly there's a picture of a motel in the front. There's songs. It's on the nose, in a lot of the lyrics. But I get that criticism. But it's just, we're very earnest people. So perhaps if that came across as pompous or like maybe like hand feeding the listener, we didn't, we're not intending to look down on anyone. But I can understand how that might be like, okay, why don't you let me decide if this is a concept album? Why do you need to tell me? So I can understand how that would ring weirdly. And I guess, it's like when I was listening to your review, as we touched on a little bit earlier, I really wanted a sort of like a messier tightness to the album, like a more kinksy, like let's do a bunch of weird takes and just pick the one that's tight but like fits. But that was not the way that Jupe wanted to do it. And what we did, it holds together, it works. But I remember hearing the first couple of drafts of mixes, and the word Disney came to mind. Like it's super shiny. Like there's even like twinkles and stuff at the end of some of the songs, which is not choices that I would have made if I was the only producer.
I think
I
picked up on that acutely, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It seemed like that was maybe part of what you guys didn't like so much. And I get that. Like I when that started happening and I knew like, okay, well, we're a trio of producers, I can't overrule them. I just tried to lean into that in the way that I could with what I was bringing and try to like make a forgivable version of like a really big cheesy, I think at its worst, this album can be cheesy, but I think we're genuinely earnest and heartfelt about everything that we're saying. So I hope that we manage to sell it. But I understand if people are like, this is too much sugar. This is,
Yeah. That's, I think, my criticism of it too. When I said like, I did say something was bad, that I don't like that, and I thought it was dangerous. And that was me, like, Cassie is a kind of a creative consultant on the show, and she said, like, what do you mean by that when you say, like, bad or that's dangerous or whatever? And then I clarify. I just say, like, I don't personally want my rock and roll to be associated with that shit, And so, and I think that was what it was like, from a standpoint of like this is not rough enough for me, is like that's where it makes me feel like this is bad. But
Yeah,
that's not
and like
that's just all personal taste, right?
Okay.
right, and like
And
Does that make
oh, go
sense?
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and Paul and I, even if it wasn't mixed in this way, we're both pretty twee. I mean, we're not trying to
You said
hide
that word.
that.
I like
Huh?
and I like that. And I think that was the production issue. It's probably very similar. We're probably more in tune, like you and I types are probably more in tune of what we would want it to sound like more than not, you know. But
Yeah. Yeah. Because
like
that
of what you would want versus how it ended up, you know.
I heard you guys' criticisms and I was like, ugh, yeah, no, I remember us having these debates and arguments.
mhm.
Yeah, I definitely predict us being like getting in a lot of artists' heads like every time we do this. You said earnest like versus pompous, you know what I think? And I don't know if we thought you were being pompous. I'm not sure if I could see how we could come across that. I think we were saying like from an artistic standpoint, it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
Not so much that it was like oh, check these guys out, but more it was like you probably didn't need that.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think I ever listened to it and felt like you guys thought you were better than anyone or anything. It was just
Yeah.
more like, is it necessary?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I
Not
wrote.
necessarily.
What else? Anything else? Anything else about the episode that you wanted to clear up or just free talk time?
Trying to think.
We have a question in the chat.
It sounds amazing. This record sounds incredible. Like I think I did say like I would work with this producer. Like I would do a couple songs with them. I am like a very 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 rough around the edges and hard to work with person. So like that kind of cleanliness would be anyone with patience for that. If they could do it, I know it would sound amazing. Like anyone who could be involved with this producer would be lucky enough to do so.
I'll let him know. Yeah, I mean, he's
Sweet.
just so busy. I don't know how many.
Yeah, they all.
It's like he literally had other projects.
Everyone's so fucking busy. How did that happen?
Capitalism? I don't know.
I don't know. I think people are going to be a lot less busy when shows open up. You know, when people are like, "Oh, I'm so busy." I think shows are going to be kind of a hot little thing once it's safe to do it.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to be a whole lot less busy once we can be social.
Definitely.
Dan, what do you? Oh yeah, chat.
Let's go to the chat. So we have
a
a question from Christopher here for types, and it says, "What genre of music are you interested in but haven't created yet?" This is a really good question.
I mean, I love funk, but I don't think I'm funky enough to make it. I've sang some R&B vocals on some rap songs, and I'm actually working on like a collection of rap songs with Conrad Shock right now. Yeah, I'm not rapping, don't worry. But I know my friend Joe, who lives in Japan, has been bugging me to make a metal song, and I just
do you do a lot of home recording?
Yeah, it's all a lot. I'm kind of like in the box crafting collages kind of person. That's generally how I make it. So I have some stuff that's harsh, and the picture behind me is the cover for a single I released recently. That's kind of a piece of like sonically brutal maximalist hyperpop. So it doesn't have, it's not like metal, but it's like if shiny synths were metal guitars, it's pummeling. So I like that aesthetic. I can get into sometimes. But
do you listen to Poppy? Ever heard of Poppy?
No.
Poppy is like this. She was like this YouTuber who turned like pop musician, but she is like this crazy maximalist like pop singer. But she has like in her latest record has like a bunch of like new metal stuff in it too, and it's wild. You should check it out. Okay, so Christopher has another question after that. He asks, if you could collaborate with any artist living or dead, who would it be and why?
Living or dead? Oh my god. I mean,
maybe you could give us one living and one dead.
Yeah, one living, one dead. I mean, Brian Eno living, just to just to be like, what's your opinion, sir? Please tell me one change to make.
Oh shit, my mic's off. Was he a nice guy or a mean guy? Is he alive still?
He's alive. Yeah,
Is he nice?
He's like the nicest of.
He's nice. Okay.
he's lived in the same region of the UK since the 70s and has only ever ridden a bike since then.
I'm always curious about that. Like, is he nice or is he like a total dick? Like,
I always
I've
thought he was
only
kind
ever
of a
heard
dick.
he and Brian Ferry really fucking duked it out, and like he wrote a nasty song about him in the 70s, and so I'm sure he's had fights with people, but
Yeah. I mean, I love both Brian Eno and Ferry, so
yeah. But
anyone else?
well, yeah, that was my alive person. Dead person, man. Gandhi. Yeah.
Default answer.
default. Just phone it in with Gandhi.
I mean, maybe like Mark Bolan, T-Rex.
Ooh, I love Mark Bolan.
Yeah, I'm really influenced
You're
by him.
scratching some good itches here.
Yeah,
we actually are too. We've got our new something that we have new coming out that's got a bit of T-Rex to see going on in there. Yeah,
we didn't get enough of him before he died.
No, we didn't, and he's not that popular in the U.S.
It's
a shame.
insane.
Yeah, I didn't hear about Mark Bolan or T-Rex until I was like 20, somehow.
Same here.
Same.
Some of the best glam rock
listeners. Mark Bolan, T-Rex, also Tyrannosaurus Rex, the early stuff. Pretty much, he died really young, so anything of his is, I think, worth listening to. Maybe some of the later 70s stuff is kind of garbage, but it's still worth it.
Yeah.
It's still, yeah, what is it? New York City. The lyrics of that song, like I saw a woman walking up to New York City with a frog in her hand. Yeah, I did. And he just repeats that over and over. Yeah, I did, don't you know? Yeah, I did, don't you know? And don't it show? Like that's
he was a little rock and roll, sexy little fairy gypsy guy. It was crazy. Yeah. All right.
We have another question from Josh. He's asked, your tracks feel ready for commercial purposes, but I imagine most commercial purposes would make you cringe. Where would you like to see your music other than generally in the ears of music fans?
I mean,
what a well thought out question.
I'm not going to like sell my songs to the fucking Daily Wire or someone like that, but I mean, I'll be in a car commercial. I don't care.
Have you had music placed in stuff?
There was a TV show in production that was in production on Amazon that like reached out to me, but it never happened. I can't remember what it was called. It was like a show about homeless people trying to live a happy life.
I was looking at your Spotify, and we'll get more music business busy on there. Is that I saw that you had one thing that had enough plays where I was like, this might be in a show or something or commercial. So I was curious.
Colorado. Yeah. That's from this album. It's my favorite song of the album. Sean McGinnity did all the guitar for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
That is the one song I recorded him. We wrote the guitar parts together and I arranged all of it.
Yeah, that one has a nice amount of plays, and I was like, oh, that might be in something. And that kind of answers the next question.
There was a playlist in Brazil that picked it up that had a lot of followers.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how you got to get it. We have listeners in Belgium.
Nice.
Apparently.
Would you want to ever see like your movie or music in like films or TV? Like what would be like the ultimate if you had to get it placed?
Ultimate.
Yeah, like where would you like, or like in a video game?
I mean,
in a P.T. Anderson movie.
I was listening.
I mean, that would be nice. Yeah.
There you go.
Fucking, a Wes Anderson movie.
Oh yeah, I would.
Sure.
I like him.
Yeah, he's a needle drop king, so if he's using one of your songs, then it's...
Yeah, he is. And I think we actually said your music was Wes Anderson-y, and we said it kind of negatively. And I don't want listeners to get... Like, I love Wes Anderson's movies. Like, and he's been so influential on people of our age groups who are, into hipstery stuff, basically,
He's very twee. I'm very twee. Yeah.
He's precious. He's precious, man. And this album is precious. It's good, though. There's even some grit, and I think just for my own personal taste, it just wasn't as hard as I like, but I do like harder music.
Yeah.
And we also play in a punk rock band,
more aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't just listen to punk though, but I do listen to some harder edge. Even the soft music I listen to has a hard edge to it.
We might eventually. There's been talk of like a remaster because Jupiter wanted to take another pass at some of the stuff because he's a perfectionist. And so we might do like a Wero Lito inspired like remix EP of
What
like.
if you do that? You should make the stems available to the general public. We did that.
Oh.
We actually talked about this. We're doing a remix album of our last record, Been Around, that Conrad's putting out. That is Been Around the remixes, and we put all the stems out there, and they're all available for anyone to remix any of our stuff.
Huh. They still out there?
Yep, it's on.
Yeah, if you want to do
yep.
a remix,
Maybe I will.
IBIJ Stems and Seeds. I'll put a link up right now. Yeah, it's on Bandcamp. It's pretty good. I'm not. I got the idea from Wolfpack how they put it out there. So I have every instrument bounce down to its individual instrument stems.
Okay.
And then you can
with
download
effects
from
on it or no?
It's mixed but not mastered. It sounds exactly the same way, but I gave everyone a little bit of headroom on it.
Okay, so there's like compression and reverb on it and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not like the final stuff. Yeah, Dan's saying, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's my music. What do I know? Fucking know.
technically, if it was recorded in a room, there's reverb on it. So
Julio hates reverb.
I do. I hate. How do you feel about reverb types?
I love it. I mean, it's very easy to overuse it. But there's a trick in, God, I don't remember the song. There's a Brian Eno song from the 70s where everything is pretty flat, pretty close to the listener's ears and kind of like folded around your ears. And then way off in the back, there's just this super far off layer, and it makes everything else sound so like it's in a cavern or like on the open sea. And so I love that trick where like most things don't. A lot of things are really dry, and then you just have one thing drenched and kind of quiet. It's a nice little trick.
Just so you know, I lost our video, but I think I can get it back in a second.
Oh no.
I think we're fine. It's just
They don't want to see us.
shit's janky, man. This stuff is like the jankiest stuff I've ever done in my life.
It's the CIA.
So,
so?
okay, we have a
Now,
lot of.
now I'm paranoid. Fuck.
I have a lot of. What am I trying to say? I want to go. Sorry, I'm like scatterbrained right now. If you were recommend us a band like that we should listen to, like we have a lot of hot takes, but like I want, and so we have like things like, oh, like we don't really listen to this type of music or whatever. So like, tell us a band to check out.
You mean like in the specific genre, like to your tastes?
No,
or?
just like something you're into.
Ooh,
Yeah, great.
Ben.
I love it. We like a lot of music. Dan and
Yeah.
I have a lot of varied tastes of what we like. I got his back. I'm sorry. I fucked that up.
Yeah. What are you listening to these days? Like what?
I was
what do you think is
I was
worth...
Googling my own band and I messed up our live stream.
Computer was like,
I've been listening to a lot of obscure stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do like to go to like Reddit to find weird shit. God, so it's like everything that I can think of that I heard recently. I can't remember the name of it. Hold on, give me 1 second. This is terrible radio. Sorry.
I love it. I mean, like, I'll give an example, like what I've been listening to lately.
This isn't radio. The difference between radio is like we get to stick to a schedule. We have no schedule. You know what I mean? Like that's the beauty.
Yeah.
We can go as long as we want. I actually am unemployed right now, so I could just stream, and I think Facebook gives me 8 hours.
That's a whole shift. He's clocked in.
Okay, this here I'll cue you into this. What is his name? Isao. Yeah, Isao Tomita.
Okay.
ISAOTOMITA.
I'm gonna look at this up. Is it on Spotify?
Yeah, he should be. He was one of the pioneers of classical crossover synth in the 70s. Would do everything on analog. Mm-hmm. He has my favorite version of Claire de Lune ever. It's gorgeous.
Could you spell that one more time for me?
ISAOTOMITA.
Awesome. Okay, that's the most popular song, is the Claire de Lune #3.
It's really good. And he's got a cover of the Star Wars theme song that sounds like it's like a disco version made for a Las Vegas casino. And it's like hilarious, but like cute and fun.
We got another question from Chad if you're ready for one.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Joshua says, were there other concept albums that you had in mind while you were working on this concept?
Yeah, I started writing a musical in 2014.
Cool.
Didn't have a name, but it was like a really um swinging for the fences, like War on Mars,
Do you
like
have like
kind
a
of.
theater background of some sort?
I was in theater in high
That's
school,
what my degree's in
and
theater.
oh really? Nice.
Yep.
Like, have you done musical theater?
I did. And when I one thing I did when I was a senior, we did like a reworking of a old weird communist play called Masses Mensch. It's like a communist play, a German
Cool.
communist play, and we remade it into a rock opera about a band. And I wrote the music and stuff for that. So that was one of the things I had to do when I was a senior in at that. So I got a little bit of musical theater experience, but it's a great fucking American theater contribution. It's like our contribution to theater is the musical.
Yeah. And we've got our bad ones and our good ones,
It's
like the
American
original.
phenomenon. So you wrote a
If
musical. That's crazy.
I mean, it's like half written. I wrote, but yeah, no, I have.
Even weirder. The half written musical is worse than the fully written one, I think. Right?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's not really. I've got demos. I've definitely got one complete song that I'll definitely be releasing at some point in the next couple of years, and I don't know about the rest of it. We'll have to see.
Yeah, you mentioned that you have like hundreds of demos. You sound like relatively like prolific. Like, how many songs do you have? Like, potentially in like, well, but you just got like this. You're just sitting on this like a nest egg of songs.
I mean, somewhat it depends on what you count as a song.
Sure.
If we're counting like every song idea, then there's like, I don't know, 700. If we're talking about like things that I broke and thought about, threw
Mhm.
stuff away, have a couple parts, got a beginning and an end, more than just one day, then like a couple hundred.
That's quite
But
a bit. I have 5 demos right now. So that's, oh yeah, a couple hundred is a lot in
I
like
mean, a
my
lot of them are
perspective.
shit, I'm
You write a
sure.
lot.
But
You write a lot then.
I used to write all the time. I've been a little more threadbare recently,
I think that's
but
understandable for anybody.
Hmm.
yeah, part of the reason is just because like that's you asked about Patreon earlier. I love it because I definitely have some dedicated supporters, and they really like to be continually inspired by that deadline is great because like, well, I gotta fucking put something out. Like I told them I would.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I definitely
yeah,
am personally like benefit from having deadlines and schedules. Kind of. I mean, it
same.
makes you do it.
yeah, because that's like how many of these songs will I have the opportunity to finish? You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's I could sit down and write a song this afternoon if I felt like it, but flip a coin, it might suck, and then I'd never come back to it.
Sure.
But I could try to finish one that I love and has been sitting around.
Awesome.
So
Love it.
besides your I just step away. Besides your play, were there any other concept albums? Or let's open that question up. What concept albums do you like that you are a fan of?
Mm.
Or sub question, albums that you consider concept albums that might not be, and you can even answer that one.
Hey, there we go.
I'll start with some that I like. Not to give you a chance. Something that listeners I want to just give props to Types for coming on. These live shows are like really adrenaline heavy,
They are.
And when you do a normal thing, like even when I do podcast tapings, I'll be like, okay, everybody breathe. And then we're going to come back in 2 minutes to go to the bathroom or whatever. So props for sitting still for this. So I'm going to give you time to think about that while I talk about concept albums I like. And they're all over the place. And I would say my favorite are probably the Kinks. Like the Kinks kind of
We were talking about
three.
this yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Though that's one of there's three right there. We are the Village Green or Village Green Preservation Society, whatever album, the
Yeah,
album
yeah,
that
yeah.
is, that Lola one, and then Muswell Hillbillies. And I think even we talked about. I might as well give a preview. We talked about the Ryan Experience, this band, and they like listening to their album like in the framework of that band made Ryan Experience make more sense to me as well. And I think even you guys like to a certain extent like the Kinks and their concept of a concept album, and they almost seem like an early adopter of the concept album too. So that's really
Yeah,
cool.
because the supposedly Sergeant Pepper was the first one, but that's contentious. But definitely the idea was
I
pretty
gotta fix my
new
mic
in the
stand.
60s.
One of my favorites is by this band called Utopia, who is a project from Todd Rundgren. And Utopia did this album called, I think, Face the Music. And it's like stylistically, each song kind of like uh, goes through like phases of like the Beatles. So they start out with like kind of like, kind of pop rock songs, and they
Were
kind of
they
go
so
into
Beatles? Were Beatles the first concept record? Is that what you're saying, types?
People have claimed that about Sergeant Pepper's,
What
but
would you what
I've
would you say?
I'm not a pop music historian. That's one of the earliest ones I know
No,
of.
we can still say shit. That's the beauty is
Yeah,
that we're not. No one has to watch us right now, so anything we say is just they're just in our world. So like whatever. I don't know.
yeah. I'm trying to think if I know of an earlier one.
That seems really early. Sergeant Pepper's.
Yeah, and that in and of itself is kind of a loose concept, but it's
Mm.
like
would it
a
be
band being a band.
Maybe all it takes for it to be a concept record is for the band to say it is, right?
yeah.
That is, yeah, no, and that's why I took that criticism to heart, because I'm like, no, I get it. Like, let it be or let it not be one,
Hmm.
I don't have a problem with it.
Maybe
I
the
do
fourth.
think they can be funny. There's some funny jokes
Yeah.
about concept records. I feel like that is an old trope of like making a concept record and it's a rock opera and it's about and you're like you check out. You're like okay,
Right, you're just like,
It's
all right.
it's about a rock band struggling and trying to
Yeah.
make it,
yeah.
and the lead singer's
Yeah.
girlfriend's mad at him all the
Yeah, it's like
time.
a
Yeah,
psychosexual romp into some guy's brain.
I feel like
yeah.
they touched that a little bit on that with like Spinal Tap even.
Some bands are just concept bands too, where it's all just a big concept. I feel like Chip Fundy is like that. Where like Chip Fundy from here in Grand Rapids, it's all just one big thing. It's like a glimpse into the mind of a madman, essentially.
It truly is.
I don't know. I'll have to
Chip
listen
Chip
to that.
Chip Fundy. They're a little older. That it's Mark Roseman. He's a brilliant singer, but he has some of the most bizarre music in the world that I've ever
It
heard.
really is.
And it ends up being like a thinly veiled glimpse into his psyche, like at all times. So maybe the more far fetched the concept, the more fun. I don't know. I think you guys pulled it off. I think this is a good record.
Yeah.
Everybody, listen to this record. Listen
Thank
to
you.
it.
Seriously.
All right, let's
And
go
if
back to
you want
questions.
secret B-sides, okay.
Oh yeah, I want to hear more about concept albums from you because if you're gonna talk, I'm gonna press this because you did a concept album, but we're not hearing about. I want to hear about what you think about concept albums.
I mean, uh, I like the idea. It always makes me think of a musical. I think, and a lot of my favorite music uh, tells a definite story more than is a journal entry. I mean, I think journal entry lyrics can be great, but they're also one of the most overused and boring things in all of at least Western pop music. Where like, I feel this way, it's really vague. Yesterday I felt better. I mean, it's just okay. We've heard that song a million times. So if you're telling a definite story, then a concept album is a great way to frame that. Even if it's like in our case, this was like Newspaper Mountains is about a real person. And Skymen is
Which track is that? Just for our listeners,
that's
I assume they're following along, like just.
I don't
Studying
remember
us.
the track list. Hold on, it's later on the album. I
That's
remember
why
that.
we ask the hard questions here at
Yeah,
Bandscamps.
these are the tough ones
What is the fourth track of your album?
Freebird. No, it's a small town.
Okay.
Yeah, Newspaper Mountains is.
I'm just kidding. You just move on. I'm just giving you shit.
No. I don't want to try to help. It's track 11. Yeah, but that guy, he was a millionaire lawyer who wanted to live at our motel. It was a hoarder and a kleptomaniac. The picture of the station wagon on the cover of the album is styled after his. It was literally just full of shit at all times. I don't even know how he saw while he was driving. And the title of the song, when we would go to clean his room, there were literally 4 or 5, 6 feet high stacks of newspapers and printouts. And he would we had 4 phone lines because we were a motel, but I remember he would tie them up for hours.
All 4 of them?
No, just one or two of them, but like literally being in court on the phone using one of our phone lines, like from another, like arguing a court live in another state. Like he was a real character.
This guy sounds awesome.
Yeah, he's dead, sadly.
Some people need that like high stress just lifestyle. They just create it. I'm gonna live in a motel. I'm gonna take up every phone line with court.
And my mom would like take him places. She's like, you need to go to the bank. You get all these checks. You need to deposit them. And then she'd be at the bank with him and he'd just be like stealing all of their pens and everything. And he's a millionaire. He doesn't need any of it. And he's like living in our motel.
That's insane.
Let's go to the chat real quick. Christopher asks, what was the artist name of the Star Wars theme reimagining?
Isao Tomita.
Okay, here we got that in the chat. Someone here said it. Okay. Someone said, are we not going to hear the pitch for the space opera musical?
It's really...
So while you think of that and laugh at that, Jeremy says Pet Sounds was earlier than Sgt. Pepper's. Is that true?
It is true.
Really? I thought Pet Sounds was made in response to Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah, I think that's...
No,
Hey, internet chat, we need to know what was earlier, Sgt. Pepper's or Pet Sounds, and I want proof. I want proof. I want a link of proof. Jeremy says so. Doesn't mean it is so.
Actually, that might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the concept? Like they had cows mooing in the background? I don't know.
What is the concept of Pet Sounds? That is true.
Yeah.
Is that a concept album or is there just barnyard animal sounds for a second?
Which Neil Young actually did.
Is the concept that he lost his goddamn mind recording it?
Neil Young actually put an album out with animal sounds on it.
Really? Is it called
recently?
Animal? Oh, recently?
Yeah.
We should. I think that's open territory. Open, just like it's a concept album. What's on it? Ducks quacking.
Yeah. I
with
think
Melodyne you can
albums have like a bad stigma, because when I hear concept album, my eyes start rolling back already. But I think maybe because there's a lot of bad ones out there, or it's just like it's cheesy, but like I think you could go and say like a lot of albums are like concept albums that
you could argue they all are, you know.
Yeah.
Pet Sounds was earlier, vice versa, Teenage Breakups. I don't have any proof in the chat. Chat, you guys are letting me down. All right.
No, Pet Sounds was earlier.
It was earlier.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm more of a fan of the concept song where like you have Sunny in the Sunsets has a song about like going to Mars and falling in love with a cyborg woman and like her like killing aliens for him. And it's sort of one of those stories that I think if he extended it beyond the length of a song, it would have become very unwieldy. But he was capable of making it dramatic and funny at the same time, because the song length lets him keep his tongue in his cheek, versus whole album length about that story. You're taking it so seriously that you're in danger of taking yourself
Mr.
too
Roboto.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm. It's the Mr. Roboto, the Domo Arigato Mr. Roboto complex. Great song, but I mean, it's so goofy that you can never take that seriously or have a moving moment to it. Like you can't make love to that song or trip to it or something. I mean, you can make a trip to it. You know,
it'd be a bad trip, probably.
Yeah, I don't. Well, and it's taking itself.
I don't know.
Or it'd be just the
most fun
hilarious
trip ever. Yeah,
yeah. Like,
kick it off.
Maybe we're missing out.
Kick it off right with Mr. Roboto.
Kyle Coulter and I once did we tried to karaoke that song at DJ's long ago. Man. And we didn't, and we only know like the Domo Arigato part, and so we like just made it up as we went. And
I saw someone do that to Panama by Van Halen. Mark, you talking about Mark? Is that what you said? Who watched? Who loved it? Oh, the bar loved it.
The bar loved it.
Oh, I thought you said Mark loved it.
They were like, come behind the bar and like let us serve you. Like it was like chaotic.
You just made up a whole story about like Mr.
We
Robot.
just had like the my rule for karaoke is if you don't know it, don't sing it. Yeah, but like there's a lot of parts of that song and I'm just like I don't know the melody of this.
You're gonna have to redemption story about doing that one.
Yeah, Kyle Coulter, if you're out there, let's do the redemption story of Mr. Roboto.
Yes. Kilroy.
Okay, we got some info on Cup Sounds. Considered a concept album from first cut to last, we were treated to an intense, linear, personal vision of the vagaries of a love affair and the painful, introverted anxieties that are the wrenching Come on, no fucking way.
That sounds like every album ever made. You know,
of the unstable chemistry of any love relationship. Basically, Brian Wilson was dating some girl. Things kind of cooled off, and now we have Pet Sounds.
And he's like, let me hang out. Let me go to this farm real
concept
quick.
album. It seems more thematic than I would use concept album, but what do I know? I remember like Dylan, they're like, oh, you write protest songs. And he's like, no, I write topical songs. That's a whole thing, you know?
Right.
And it's just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Topical. That's a good thing too.
Yeah.
So I think that's all the questions for chat. How about I got an idea. Types. Do you have any questions for Paul?
Yeah, anything you want to say to Paul?
Oh. I don't know if we talked about this. What concept albums inspired you to come up with this idea? Because I don't remember ever talking about that. And how many names of the goats that we grew up with do you remember?
Ooh, goats.
Dang, you're calling.
We'll see how many he can remember.
It.
How many can you remember? Oh, do you think he's gonna? He's gonna watch this though.
Yeah, I can't say them. Let me think.
You should. Here's what you'll do.
I can only remember 3 actually. So if he can remember more than 3, then then he wins. I don't know.
We have calls for blood in the chat. This has happened every single one we've done. There's been calls for blood.
I know. What is that?
They want me to
actual drag him types. He says maybe it's not blood. Maybe I just take everything personal and make everything personal. So I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
Okay. Drag him. I bet you can't remember more than 2 goat names. Oh. Paul.
Dang.
That's a cool game to see.
Yeah. Love it.
Man, I think this
is a wonderful woman that's also my mother.
I'm having a great time talking with you. And meeting you. Fun. You look a lot different than I thought you'd look.
Same.
I am. I've aged a lot in the last few years.
So I didn't look at pictures of you. Just based on your voice and like how you sound. Just you look a little different.
But you don't live in Grand Rapids, do you? You live.
I do.
Oh, you do live in Grand Rapids.
No, I've lived here since.
Oh, we got that wrong. I think I thought you were from Lansing.
Or Chicago or something.
No, Chicago.
We did 1 minute of research.
I grew up in the Lansing area, like out in the country.
Okay.
But I moved here when I was 18 for college, and I've just been here ever since.
When it's safe, let's grab a drink.
Totes, yeah.
Chat won't stop talking about concept albums. How would you define a concept album at this point? I know.
Yeah, I think it is a concept that's perhaps beaten to death. Because
what's the definitive concept album?
The concept album.
Definitive concept.
I feel like the one that I keep on going to is Tommy.
That's a good one. Way over the top, but they stick with it the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good one. Oh, and the Who Sell Out. That's a really good, where every song is as though it were an advertisement, or nearly everyone. That's a good concept. Because when the concept affects the way that you write and record the songs.
Yeah.
You know, when it's really
like
deep.
Top down design, from top to bottom. It's like we're gonna
not
do
just
this,
lyrics.
Then,
yeah, that's like if we had recorded each song of this album in a different room of the motel that my parents own or something.
Like, do you think like The Love Below and like Speaker Box is a concept album? Like the Outkast album, that's like a double album, and each of them do their own thing. They kind of have elements of that. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to define.
Yeah,
but we will.
I'd have to go.
We will harp on about it though for a great length.
We will. Yeah, we'll run this topic to the ground.
Chat. Last call for questions. I would say how would we define a concept album? I think we're having a hard time doing it, but we're open. We're open to it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's off limits. You know.
No.
I think a concept album is a collection of songs where there is a concept to them that is so central that they don't make sense if you took it away.
Yeah, that's a good way. I think the other thing for me would be like a concept album where it has to be like this had to be like a music too. Like the concept is served by like the music, where because there's a lot of times where you have a concept and you're like, why don't you just like write a book or like
Mhm.
do a painting or whatever, like why did it have to be like a piece of music just because you're a musician? Like that's not enough
Yeah, and the
justification.
Beatles did it, and the Beach Boys did it, and so we want
Right.
to do it. Yeah, because
Exactly.
and I think because I was going to say Joe Bryant's "Creatures of the Street," because like it's a collection of songs about like prostitutes that he knew or like weirdos that he knew,
Hmm.
but I don't know that that affects the way he wrote the songs. It doesn't sound
Yeah.
like it.
Chat
But
says, we got Josiah in the chat. Hey, Josiah. All great albums have a concept of some sort holding them together.
I feel like we kind of agree with that
I
in
think so
some ways.
yeah,
too. I mean, I don't know. Like,
Like Bruce Springsteen's The River is like the concept of that is to like capture his live show on recording. Like that was like his challenge was like you write these albums, but like your live show is so different. Like capture that energy and put it on a record. That's like the concept of that record.
I think, thinking about what Josiah says, I think that great albums that are in already established genres definitely will have some kind of theme. But there are great albums that are in new and emerging genres that had no unifying theme, and the unifying theme was all style and technique, or culture or something.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, like Beck's Colors was kind of a proto hyperpop album.
He kind of does all
Um,
of his albums are kind of have like and the concept is sometimes this genre or vibe.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's interesting. Yeah.
I would say even like Brian Eno too. Like, his a lot of his ambient records I feel like are like very much like conceptual.
well, yeah, as the inventor of I'm obsessed with him. By the way, he's really the person who coined the term and invented the modern version of the genre. It's not as though it
Hmm.
didn't exist before him, but the specifically electronic, and he got in a car crash, like a really bad car crash, in the late '70s, and he had to be in traction for a couple months in the hospital, and the radio was on the other side of the room,
Hmm.
and like nurses were coming and he was like alone by himself for a couple hours and he couldn't turn it up, so he was just hearing like pop songs on the radio but at super low volume, and it just made him think about like what if this was a genre of like music that you could kind of just take or leave.
Hmm.
And so then you have him making like the seminal music for airports, which literally he was just imagining like what kind of music, like I want this to be played in airports. Like
Right.
I feel like there's
like
lore about Iggy Pop like being influenced by like the sound of car manufacturing and shit like
that's cool.
that. And like I feel like him and because it's similar time period, kind of the proto punk era, of being influenced by your environment. I feel like there's lore about him being like, oh,
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
wanted
like
I
the
wanted to
Velvet
make I wanted
Underground,
to make my band sound like these
like
fucking car
a
machines.
concept band.
Concept bands.
Yeah,
I think all
I just
the good
only
ones kind of are.
yeah.
All right,
You mean
chat.
like only power tools as
Yep.
instruments or
Hmm.
something?
Yeah. All right, chat. Let me know your last thoughts. I think we've been talking for quite some time, and I could talk all day, but we probably should wrap it up. Josh says the Venn diagram has collapsed. All albums are concepts. Not all concepts are albums. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Hmm.
So let's do a circle around. Dan, do you have any final thoughts directed towards types? At him or with him or for him?
Uh, Actually, this is uh really like a special occasion because I feel like I love when I get to know a musician after I hear their music because I just have like such a deeper appreciation of Motel after getting to have a conversation with you. So thank you for doing this.
Totally. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
It's been a
I
lot of
think
fun.
same thing. And yeah, we'll link up and we'll be closer friends. We'll do another one. Maybe we'll do a whole recap and we'll get everybody on and we'll do more of these. This is kind of a new emerging media for me to get involved with, and I really thank you for putting this record out for us to critique because you probably didn't know what it would be. And yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it. So I guess final thoughts from you, and then we'll circle and see if chat's doing anything, and then we'll call it a day.
Yeah, if anybody wants to license the album, you can email. No, uh, I
Yeah.
do
Oh, yeah.
have. Do you mind if I do some plugs real
Please.
quick?
Plug it up. Plug.
Insist.
Rub a dub dug. 2 plugs in a tub.
All right. So the picture behind me, I put out. I got a song and a video out for Robert Downey Jr. Part 1. I've got Part 2 coming out. Split A side with Conrad's Dot She persona. We both have kind of brutalist, hyper pop kind of pummeling songs to throw at you. That's coming out like in a couple weeks, and
Nice.
then Biko and I we put out Mixie like a year ago. Biko and I are coming out with another song this summer that Conrad also added some bass to. So that'll be coming out, and then there's like maybe a hip hop EP that I'm working on, and yeah, there's just look out for more stuff.
Yeah, throw us your
Coming
socials.
You're also an artist that is not really intending on stopping anytime soon. It seems like,
No.
right? Yeah,
I would go crazy.
I think almost every artist we've covered so far are not throwing in the towel anytime soon, which is really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I'll make another concept album for a long time. I mean,
Tim, where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, what are your socials?
types with 4 T's on Twitter.
I got your Patreon up here. So is that a common spelling of this name?
A lot of my socials will have 4 T's.
Cool.
I was high when I created a lot of them, so it's like various numbers of T's. So like Instagram has 5 for whatever reason.
Cool.
Jesse asked if we're doing a low order recap after Paul. We're doing it on Sunday. So go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, but do check out my YouTube. I've got videos of a lot of. We're trying to make a music video for every song on Motel. We've got a couple coming
Nice,
out.
bro. I did not see those. So yeah,
The visual
I
album.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
visuals.
And then
I'm
we're gonna
lazy
like
about
It takes a lot of work. It's
It
like a
sucks.
whole other thing.
We've talked about that quite a bit, Julio, with past our bands.
We've talked about making music videos.
Yeah, like
Yeah, we have for sure.
Well, I mean, like the concept of doing the first tape, we talked about doing
Oh.
like a video for each song.
Oh, I would love to, man. It's too much. I can't I can't write music and record it and promote it and make videos for it and like I just can't do it all.
Well, let me just say, Andy Cash, very talented video maker. He's made a couple videos
Okay.
for Motel.
I
He's
know Andy.
working on another one. So
Well, shit. Is Andy watching right now? He might be. Who knows?
maybe. But yeah, I would contact him. He's got a couple music. He did the video for 1924, and he did one for Good Boy Young. So if you like those videos, you could hire him. He's funny. He's good.
Yeah, we've worked with a few different people, so.
Yeah, Josiah says that many people won't listen to a song unless there's a video attached. Sad but true.
Yep.
100%. I do.
Mhm.
I agree. And we kind of, for our last release, we did put a video out for the last album we did. Just one video. Just like we'll get one high quality video. And that was the idea. It was like a high quality video that you either like that or don't. And it's a pretty good representation of what we sound like. And then you can find the rest. But videos
was a fun
are
time, too.
videos are the way of the future.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of them. So if you like that, check out my YouTube.
Looks like you got some
Hell yeah.
fans. You got some fans in the chat here, Types.
Yeah, some fanboys.
You got some fans.
Some stands.
You got some
Hey,
stands.
guys.
Yeah, we call them stands around at Bandscamps.
Bandstands.
I love all of you.
We had a great
Well,
time.
and also-
I had a great time here. What else? Good. What do you got to say?
Oh, I'm just, everybody who's supporting me. I know you. I know who your names are. Chris and Josh, and Zach, Laura,
What was that?
Dre. Thank you. Love all of you. And Sean, if you ever see this, fucking, you're amazing. Guitar that you're bashful about always. Of course, Chris Kennedy and Dan Julian. But yeah, Sean McGinnity, he's one of my favorite guitarists in the area. I've worked with him on and off for years. He's a sweet man. He needs more attention.
An old band I used to be in played a show with one of his old bands a long time ago, the Sleep Tills.
Were you?
I was
were
in
you
the Little Village. And our
Okay.
first show was with the Sleep Tills.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's how you remember. Do you remember Dan Vicino?
Mm-hmm.
I was in. So you remember? Do you remember
Yeah,
Quick Colors? Do you remember
Yeah.
that band?
Yes.
That I was in that band. That was the
Oh.
band I was in,
Shit.
Yeah.
and
okay.
that was. Did you live with him, or was that somebody else?
That was Dustin Anderson at first, and then John Pataki a little later.
Okay, yeah, no, that crazy ass apartment, and
The
like
one on-
where
on-
where
right
Will
on.
Eberhard accidentally shot out the window because he
Yep,
didn't know Dan
exactly.
had live bullets in his
Yeah, that
gun.
That was fucked. That was terrifying.
We'll just censor that later.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's some real shit.
Will didn't do crimes.
That's some insider real shit. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay,
I
cool.
knew you were familiar. I saw you guys live once. You were really great.
Thank you so much.
Little Village. I would check out that band. They have I mean, there's only 2 official releases. They're both worth listening to. That's Dan's band.
Yeah.
This guy.
Mm-hmm.
That brings me back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first band that I like really was in, and that's how I met Julio, was playing with the Wildfire.
Okay. Cool. And pro tip, if you're a pothead and you bought an ounce and all you have left is seeds and stems and a bunch of crumbs, and you're like, oh, there's definitely like 2 or 3 joints of crumbs in there and we don't know what to do with them. But in that terrible, rundown, drug-addled, crazy-ass apartment where all sorts of shit happened, I came up with the brilliant idea of taking a mesh baseball cap and filtering all of the keef out of the stems and the seeds, and then we had like weed enough for a week when they thought it was all gone.
Bandscamps exclusive.
Pro tip.
Wow.
It's
I don't smoke anymore, but it was a brilliant. It was.
Hey, weed's legal now.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm slowly making my presentation on here just more less and less appealing for people, so it's good. I'm gonna I feel like the biggest critique I get of my work is like, why isn't that straight? You know. So, let's do it.
Yeah.
I had a great time today. I don't even know what time
awesome.
it is. What time is it? I said we could talk
3.
all day. It's already 3.
Yeah.
We've been talking an hour and a half. We're gonna do a recap on Sunday.
good.
You're unavailable on Sunday. You can come back and join us if you want to, but you can't. You probably got to work.
I've got it. Yeah, I'm
You
a
got a
janitor, and I got my son. Get him back this evening, so I'm going to be real busy.
Well, we really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Can't
Yeah,
wait
thanks
to
for having me.
hang out when it's safe.
So just do me a favor, just hang up on this call because we're gonna chat a bit without you.
All right.
No, Dan, just boot him. We actually boot people.
Oh yeah,
now.
I'll boot you.
Dan's gonna boot you.
It's
Okay.
funny.
Yeah,
Don't kick me.
It's funnier if you get kicked. Yeah.
How dare you? Don't.
Yeah. Any last
don't.
words before your history, buddy?
When you kill me, you'll only be killing a man. You can't kill an idea.
So ominous. That is the most ominous thing ever.
That's
That
so awesome.
that actually made my stomach like drop a little.
Yeah. Why? The more we do these, the more I'm going to be so confused on why anyone says yes to these.
Yeah, I am too. That was great though. Types did a great
That
job.
was amazing.
That was fun. That was really fun.
I
Listeners
live for that
and
shit.
viewers, thank you so much. Types Patreon is down here. I got the Bandscamps logo. Let me get rid of this one. That's that.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah. Please
Check out Motel. It is a great listen, guys.
It's really good. And I think the negative things that we have about it, again, are just questions.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? But we do.
Exactly. Like,
Who cares?
again,
We
like
do.
these listens are like, when we're reviewing, we're doing like crazy deep dives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that we're not enjoying the listen.
We got Tim in the chat. Tim is now left.
Oh, got Tim in the
left
chat.
the call. That happened. I think Aaron joined the chat
Yeah,
immediately
Aaron.
after too.
I love it.
I'm surprised he's not. It's hard. That's why it's hard to. I'm just producing this. Cassie gave me some sound checks and she's helping with production, but just trying to get this going.
Yeah, shout
This
out
is
to Cassie
fun though.
for helping us
Yeah,
out.
thank you, Cassie. We promoted her to creative consultant because she has this work. I was saying too, if there's anybody that you can confide in to help you with your assessment of music, I would say you can confide in them too. You know, because Cassie does actually listen to these records with me too and kind of give me some ideas. So
Okay.
I can't take all credits for all my ideas.
Gotcha.
Is what I'm saying in a really good way.
Yeah,
So
that's good. I appreciate the transparency.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's partially why her creative consulting is kind of being larger than just helping them out here or there.
Yeah, I actually had after I listened to the last records we just reviewed, I had Lacey look over my notes and I was like, "Is this like insane?" And she's like, "No."
No, it's helpful. Anything else you want to go over? This looks really good. I got just me and you coming in.
Yeah.
I feel bad that the presentation looks so nice right now that I feel bad having to disconnect. Hey, chat, if you have anything, say it now. I think we're on a 30-second delay. This was fun. This went well.
We have episode 4 premiering this Tuesday. We're going to be reviewing
Fruit
Leaps and
Punch.
Bounds by
Oh,
Radio
yeah.
Extravaganza and
Luster.
Luster
the
by
name of the
Fruit
album.
Punch.
And these are both
So
available on Bandcamp, on Spotify. This episode coming up is kind of it's a doozy.
it's a doozy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you put out any music in 2020 and now 2021, we want to review it. So please submit your album to bandscamps@gmail.com. Let's see. We're also looking for sponsors still. So if you have a small business or product you want to reach thousands of new ears.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of engagement. We're getting a ton of engagement, and we're just going to get more and more. We're a brand new podcast. This is episode 3. And I can tell you that we've engaged with thousands of people, and even on a weekly basis, it stays thousands. So we are still trying to explore how to best fund this, because I don't want to fund it out of pocket. So I think we're going to try ads. I'm not opposed to like Patreon kind of shit too.
Yeah.
I don't know that
stands.
I don't know that these viewers are willing that our viewers are willing to pay for it. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know what's better. Do I get my viewers to pay for it, or do I try to get some businesses to sponsor us? I don't know.
Right.
What do you think? Viewers, what do you think? Tell us.
So, be sure to visit us on Facebook. Instagram is at Bandscamps_, and just leave us a comment anywhere, like on Facebook, Instagram, email, bandscamps@gmail.com. We love talking with y'all, and so like the chat is like so fun, and
It's
I
super
wish
fun.
we could just have a live chat all the time.
Mm-hmm. And I think I'm happy with staying on Facebook for right now. And concerning chat, sorry if anyone's chat did not get answered or their question. We're doing our best. Jesse did ask, are we doing a low order recap after Paul? We're doing a low order, and Paul we're going to be doing on Sunday at noon. We're doing a nooner.
I think we're shooting for
1 or 11.
I think call time is noon.
Call time's noon, so I think 12:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be good. We're gonna have low order, and we're gonna have Paul, who also contributed to this record right here. I can point at it and go, ooh.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
So, this is super exciting, and again, thank you to Tim for hopping on today. That was a real pleasure.
That was great. Not every band is cut out to be on this show.
And the live format is so chaotic too.
It's hard.
So
It's ridiculous.
So you did a great job, Tim.
I'm gonna be flexing. I'm gonna actually. I might play some chess today. I'm kind of feeling warmed up. So if anyone plays chess out there, chess.com, I'm gonna do some games. As Hetty Roosevelt is my name. Do you play?
Grandbastards.
Do you play at all?
No, I'm not a chess guy.
Really? It's
No.
pretty fun.
I watched a little bit of Queen's Gambit, and I
like
that
it?
show. I appreciate the game, but it's just not really my cup of tea.
We should find a game.
Yeah.
Let's find a game. We can do a game scamps.
I like cribbage.
I've never played. I'll learn how to play cribbage. Is there a way to play it virtually like this in this format?
I'm sure there is. There's
Okay.
got to be. Yeah.
Okay. Any other games too? I'll play with you.
Um,
Viewers, listeners,
I
thank
mean,
you. Thank you for watching.
we should try to figure out how to do Smash.
You can do net play on it. My computer just can't handle it. But you
Yeah.
can do. I have a capture card now, so if I were to get a Switch or something, I could probably go in from my Switch into a capture card, and we could broadcast it.
Yeah, I just downloaded Mario Tennis yesterday.
We got a suggestion. Josh says get sponsors and offer premium content on Patreon for community building. Okay. Let's do both. So we can do some bonus content.
Sweet. Planned Parenthood, if you want to sponsor us,
Yeah, Planned Parenthood.
why don't you step up your game
monetize?
here
Here's monetize your shit, your memes with some non-fungible tokens, and then sponsor us.
and then sponsor us. Yeah,
Simple.
It's literally that easy.
It's literally free money.
Yeah, you're losing money right now.
You're losing money not doing this.
Yeah. All right. This has been episode 3 recap,
Part 1.
part 1.
We'll see you on Sunday. I'll make an announcement. Be sure to listen to Leaps and Bounds by the Brandino Extravaganza. Be sure to listen to Luster by Fruit Punch.
Do your homework.
Dan, anything you got to say to me, to my face while we're here? Josh said fuck off, scamps. Jeez.
Jeez, I guess go fuck myself then.
I did pop off on him.
Yeah.
Because
that's
he was being bossy. He was like, why? I don't even know. Let me see here. Let me go back. Oh, I did say I was cranky to him. He said he was being friendly. What the fuck? So he's mad about that exchange. Probably.
We just got interneted.
Chris says
all
thank you.
good.
Josh
Yeah.
says fuck
Thank you,
off.
Chris.
I'm happy with that.
All right.
Thank
Cool.
you everybody for listening and watching. I think that we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna do 52 episodes of this in a year, and that's gonna be over 100 albums that we're gonna review and recap and everything. So this is the best content for local music in Grand Rapids right now. So follow, like, all that.
Tell your friends. All right. See
Bye,
ya.
Dan. That's fun. So I'm gonna I guess. Oh yeah, I have to end the broadcast. I'm like waiting for you to end it. All right.
Well, I mean, I got to end the call and then.
No, I'm gonna. Oh, do you want to just? No, I'm